Well, hello. Haven't done a video in a little while, so I guess I better get to it. Before YouTube changes their procedures again, and nobody knows how to upload their own videos in a few weeks, you never know what they're up to. So this evening, something regarding America's priorities, according to the Beltway elite. This is I'm going to try to post a link to this article by Glenn Greenwalds. Something very unusual happened over at the Washington Post editorial page the other day. They deigned to address a response from one of their readers, who challenged them to explain what he sees as a contradiction to their editorial positions. Namely, the Post demands that Obama's health care plan not be paid for by borrowed money, yet the very same Post editors vocally support escalation in Afghanistan without specifying how it should be paid for. Why is it okay to finance wars with debt, asks the reader, but not to pay for health care in the same way? The Post editors give two answers. They first claim that Obama will save substantial money by reducing defense spending, by which they mean that he's basically merely decreasing the rate of increase of defense spending from 2008 to 2019, as well as withdrawing from Iraq. But so what? Even if those things really happen, we're still paying for our glorious, endless war in Afghanistan by borrowing the money from China and Japan, all of which continues to explode our crippling national debt. We have absolutely no ability to pay for the Afghan adventure other than by expanding our status as the largest and most insatiable debtor nation which history has ever known. That depth gravely bothers Beltway elites like the Post editors when it comes to providing ordinary Americans with basic services, which Post editors already have. But it's totally irrelevant to them when it comes to refueling the joys of endless war. The Post attempts to justify this disparity with their second answer, which is perfectly capturing the prevailing and deeply warped Beltway thinking. Namely, escalating in Afghanistan is an absolute national necessity, while providing Americans with health care coverage is just a luxury that can wait. All this assumes that defense and health care should be treated equally in the national budget. We would argue that they should not be. This is what the Post editors are saying. Universal health care, however desirable, is not fundamental to the defense of our people, nor is it a necessity. In contrast, General McChrystal believes that if reinforcements are not sent to Afghanistan soon in the next year, this war may be lost, and with catastrophic consequences for U.S. interests in South Asia. U.S. soldiers would continue to die without the prospect of defeating the Taliban. And as Mr. Obama put it, if left unchecked, the Taliban insurgency will mean an even larger safe haven from which Al-Qaeda would plot to kill more Americans. Now, I would like to note here that, in most editorials that you see in the major papers, the Taliban is always interlinked with Al-Qaeda, when this actually is not necessarily the case at all. A recent study from the Harvard Medical School and Cambridge Health Alliance documented that 45,000 American deaths are associated with lack of health insurance. But it becomes so much worse when one considers that what we're ostensibly going to do in Afghanistan as part of our venerated counterinsurgency mission In an amazingly enlightening interview with Frontline, military expert Andrew Brocevich, and you may want to look up Frontline, you can look that up on the web, explains what that supposedly entails. I think the best way to understand the term counterinsurgency is to understand what the U.S. Army and Marine Corps today mean by that term. What they mean is an approach to warfare in which success is to be gained not by destroying the enemy, but by securing the population. That worked out really nicely in Iraq, didn't it? The term securing here means not simply keeping people safe, but providing the people a series of services: effective governance, economic development, education, the elimination of corruption, the protection of women's rights, and so on. A rather ambitious project. Now think about it. If counterinsurgency, according to this current doctrine, is all about securing the population, if securing the population implies not simply keeping them safe, but providing people with good government and economic development and education and so on, since when has this become a campaign globally? For quite a while. Are we called upon now to keep everybody else safe? To prevent another 9/11? Are we called upon to secure the population of the entire globe? Given the success that we've had so far in securing the population of Iraq and in Afghanistan, after 10 years, you might add, does this idea make any sense whatsoever? So according to the Washington Post, of course, dropping bombs on, controlling, and occupying Afghanistan will all simultaneously ensure effective governance, economic development, and education, and the elimination of corruption, as witnessed by the recent election there, I might add. So basically what we have here is, this person says, basically what we have here, in my judgment, is basically the exact reverse of it. War has become a permanent condition. And I might like to add a little quote by Adam Smith here, back in 1776, an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. In great empires, the people who live in the capital and in the provinces are remote from the scene of actions, feel, many of them, scarce any inconvenience from the war, but enjoy at their ease the amusement of reading it in the newspapers, the exploits of their own fleets and armies. So, lounging around the editorial offices in the capital of a rapidly decaying empire, urging that more Americans be sent to endless wars, paid for with endless debt, while yawning and lazily waving away with boredom the hordes outside dying of lack of health care, is one of the most repugnant images imaginable. And that's exactly what Adam Smith denounced. But this is exactly what our own political and media elite are doing.